So here's your index of activities. I think you said you're resubmitting this. So I'll go through it as if it's your first submission. So you're in preschool, ages 3 to 4, basket of toys, cards with letters on them, recognize some letters of the alphabet. So this is really hard. It's very confusing to get these skills straight when you're doing these benchmarks and all of that. So what I want to say is that identifying the letter, recognizing the letter, which is what you've got, recognizes some letters of the alphabet, is not the same as the skill of identifying the alphabet letter that the toys begin with, because again, as we discussed back in the literacy section of the course, we're not identifying letters and sounds. We're really working with sounds in preschool and learning to name the letters. We're not yet putting the letters and the sounds together. That comes a little later. So this skill of identifying the letter of the alphabet the toys in the classroom begin with is actually a phonics skill and is not the same as just naming the letter. So you have to make a decision here about changing. You can't put these two things together because they're two different skills. So just choose one of them. So this whole idea of bear starts with B and all of that's not appropriate. Go back to the literacy content area that we talked about and review the letter of the week and all of the reasons why we don't do that. So I would just ask you to revisit that activity. You can have a letter matching game and just, have them play with the alphabet letters and that sort of thing. And you can look at, do they look at the letter A and say A? But the whole idea of phonics and introducing beginning sounds, all of that comes later. So please review that content area if you need to help yourself with that. Creating shapes with sticks. As long as you're not telling them what shapes to create and you're just letting them make shapes, that's great. Parking number cars, Hot Wheels, labeled numbers so they recognize numbers. I'm sure you must mean match the numbers on the car with the numbered parking lot. So basically they're in early childhood classrooms, we do not address mistakes. We just notice and give them lots of practice. So please do not correct young children about their mistakes. That's very defeating and hard on them. And in early childhood, they really don't need that yet, especially because you've got it ages 3 to 4. Yeah. So just let them play and notice what they match and don't match and keep an eye on it. But please do not address mistakes or provide feedback. Just notice what they do. So in sinking and floating, you're just sinking and floating. So I don't know what problem behavior as a communication technique means, but that's okay. Ocean in a bottle. Yeah, that's fine. You don't even need to call it that. You can just let them use those materials. I wouldn't talk about marine life associated with this because it's not an ocean in a bottle. I know teachers call it that, and that's fine for fun because it's making waves. I would talk about making waves maybe, but I would cross out talking about marine life because that the ocean in the bottle has nothing to do with ocean life, if that makes sense. But it's a great activity, so leave the activity alone. Just don't, you don't need to attach it to marine life. Natural materials, that's great. Just exploring. Okay. So they're basically just exploring with materials, so that's great. Group dance, pre-K through 5th grade. I'm not sure if you mean, I'm not sure what you mean there. I'm not sure what this is. Go Noodle group dance. It's a YouTube. I would prefer you did not use YouTubes for activities. I know teachers do it in classrooms, but it's really not. It's better for children to use, for you to make movements in them to imitate them for fun. So I would like to ask you to take that out. And just, you can make this a group Grow Noodle group dance, and you can do the movements and they can, imitate them and have fun. So that's a simple change to make. Red light, green light. Pre-K to 5th grade. Again, I'm not sure why you're choosing things that go from pre-K to 5th grade, but that's okay. Red light, green light is a fun game to play with kids to help them, as long as you're not penalizing them in early childhood for not being able to stop when you say red light. You just let them practice. Just be careful with that. Tug of war is not appropriate for young children, so please take that out. Yeah, that's totally inappropriate for young children. Just take that out. Feelings check-in, chart with feelings, identify feelings throughout the day. Yeah, I feel like I remember doing this one with you, and I do not want children charting how they feel throughout the day. That's not appropriate for young children. So a lot of these things where you have pre-K to 5th, it's very unlikely that an activity will be appropriate for 5th graders and also be appropriate for pre-K, just so you're clear on when you're researching for activities. But identifying feelings throughout the day for young children is just something you would do naturally, but not chart. So I would say you could change this and just say you would have feeling cards in the classroom that children, when they're having feelings, can share with you if they want to. Something like that. So I don't know if that, I hope that's helpful. Emotions, guessing. Students will be able to match certain phrases with emotions and guess them correctly in a game. This would be fine, of course. Just, remember that different people show emotions differently. So rather than have them guess the emotions correctly, I would have them say, what do you look like when you feel happy? What do you look like when you feel sad? And then the children can show their individual interpretations of those emotions. So just make that simple little change. When they're this young, we really just want them to start to get to know their own expression of emotions. And they will start to notice other people's expressions that way and gain this skill of identifying how somebody might be feeling. But that starts with identifying and understanding their own reactions to certain feelings. So just, that's just a simple little change. You have got your sources here, and I'm wondering if maybe some of these sources are the reason why a lot of this needs a little changing. So I would recommend that you not make use of sites that have pre-K to 5th, and not copy them from those kinds of sites. I have in the resources section of the course the Chicago project-based approached lessons and activities. You might want to take a look at those instead. Mostly not so much because I want you, go ahead and make the changes I've asked for here. But the purpose of this course is to familiarize you with the type of projects and activities that are appropriate for the classroom usually through kindergarten, because most public schools, even in kindergarten, are not doing early childhood anymore. Private schools have that option, but even private schools, in some of them are doing, more like first and second grade in kindergarten now. So, but my job in this class is to make sure you know the difference. So I hope these are helpful, and just make those simple changes and you'll be good. And let me know again if you want to meet up and talk, but I hope this is helpful.